Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. This video is on the Canadian federal election 2025. On the issue of does crowd size matter? There's been a lot of talk about that recently. And what role will crowd size play, if any, in the 2025 Canadian federal election? So what is the underlying issue? I'll just focus on the PCs and Liberals because at the big federal level, it seems like it's a two-horse race at this moment. Both parties claim that large crowd size rallies, they have large crowd sizes. For example, the PCs have large crowds. They've claimed up to 15,000 in Edmonton, Alberta. And then the Liberals have sizable crowds, but much smaller. They have claimed up to 5,000 attendees in a rally in Richmond, BC. From this, they are radically different crowd sizes. PCs seem to be much bigger at this point in time. So this leads to an issue of accuracy. There's been a general view that there's been a bit of an overestimation of the crowd size, and researchers took photographs and they hand counted the number of attendees at the rallies. And after discussing with an expert, the expert stated that both crowd size claims, the large ones from just previously spoken about, are excessive. So both the Liberals and the PC, their crowd size claims are overestimated. From this, it is incredibly difficult, especially when there's a lot of people at a rally and they're all jam-packed close together. It is difficult to accurately assess the number of people at a rally. And if you think about this, parties want to get elected, and so there's an incentive to try to overestimate the crowd size. So if you want to show support, you want to say that you have a lot of people at your rally, so you want to emphasize that as much as possible, and sometimes there's a bit of fibbing. This leads to an issue of validity. So part of the reason for the crowd size claims is that there is also a belief that the crowd size is a good approximation for overall support. However, this may not necessarily be valid to the role of undecided voters. Those people that would not vote for any of the main parties or are sort of waffling between a couple of choices, they may not necessarily attend rallies. And ultimately from all of this, unless everyone in a specific riding actually attends a rally, you never know who are the total number of people that are attending and at the rallies and how that corresponds to the number of people in the ridings, because you don't normally have everyone in a riding going. So from this, crowds are an imperfect and invalid reflection of support. Intensity. The size of a crowd is much more accurate in terms of it's a reflection of the supporter passion. So if you're really passionate about a candidate, you're going to want to attend a rally. And depending on where you are, say if you're in a rural riding, it can take a sizable effort to attend a rally. So again, thinking about if it's a really big rural riding where a rally is really far from where you live. So you have to ideally book with the party. You have to make room in your schedule. You have to get in your car, etc. And you have to pay for whatever the gas is, the parking, etc., and also the time you spend. So if you're going to go to all those steps, especially if it's a really, again, rural riding where it could take a lot of time to get to the rally. It could take a lot of money in terms of gas. It could take a lot of time to attend. It really, really is much more accurate in terms of the intensity of support. From this, I'll summarize some of the themes from this. Parties are generally overstating the crowd size. So that's just, there's a built-in incentive to try to make it seem like your rallies are the biggest, best thing possible. That also leads to the issue of validity. It's unclear if the crowd size relates to actual on-the-ground support. And I think probably the best indicator of a rallies is the intensity of the support. And it is probably, it leads to the idea that crowd size is better related to the passion of the supporters. From this is maybe the biggest question this all leads to. Will the PCs and their larger, more intense in-person support translate to equally large electoral support? Or is the Liberals' smaller, less intense in-person support reflective of a silent majority? And this goes back to Nixon. So from all that, that's ultimately the election's going to be decided on that contrast between those two ideas. That is Poilievre versus Carney. Does crowd size matter? Please feel free to like this video if you like it. Please feel free to comment if you have any thoughts, and please feel free to subscribe to this channel if you like this type of content. As always, thanks for watching.